Hey YouTube, Joe Green 1990 here to do a live reaction and review of How I Reincarnated as a Slime, Chapter 106, Formal Audiences. So we're picking up right where we left off. We're kind of talking with essentially about Tengu and Winter Alliances. So we have Formal Audience. Oh mighty Demon Lord Emerson, please accept us Rabbitmen as your humble servants. I wanted to arrange a setting where the nearby monsters could visit me now that I've become a demon lord. One of our main reasons for holding the founding festival. Noting me so frightened, Ruma-sama is very forgiving. Yes. Truth is, I wanted to bring my daughter as well. However, she got swept up in the sights of your city, causing me to completely lose track of her. So there was a spin-off, essentially, of a rabbit that was photographing, essentially recording stuff, and I'm thinking maybe this is the father of that character. Haha, curiosity is a good thing. Wouldn't a girl like that be able to handle changing trends more easily? Sounds like she will become a reliable successor. Thank you for your gracious words. Please allow me to introduce you to my daughter, Familia, at the next opportunity. The weaker races to me very. So if you know her name, if it is Familia, let me know. If not someone else, please let me know if the reporter who's in this line universe. Meanwhile, the ones very familiar with her were pretty frank in their requests. You allowed Rima-sama, yes? Rima-sama, yes? In that case, please accept us too. Similar conversations happen the next few days. Pretty much anyone associated with the fairies, considering him the Lord. It's been a while, Rima-sama. Congratulations on you becoming a demon lord. I'm honored to be able to share in celebrations. I know we promised us, or who again? I'm just kidding. I couldn't help but tease after your appearance changed so much. Rima-sama, how cruel of you. The Lizard King. Lizardman, I love his design. He's kind of got that old wise, and I love essentially his horns have come a more of a crown going back. To me, that's awesome. Allow me to reintroduce myself. I'm the Chief Lizardman here, like Sissus. My name is Abaru, named by Erm. Thanks to receiving your gift, I'm now capable of transforming into a human form. I love that. I think that's cool. Long time no see, Chief. Like I thought, your old form fits you better. Oh, and don't worry about all the formalities and stuff. Remember something, isn't that a bit too lax? It's fine. We had Gabaru's dad come all the way here. I'm truly no match for you, Murasama. Has my son been of use to you? Of course. He's already become an executive that we can't do that. His combat prowess is reliable, but we've also got him handling research department now. Truly? Him, of all people? I love this. Right, Gabaru? Yes! I'm winking. Notice, Gabaru. This isn't working. He hasn't got a clue. Gabaru, yeah. Rumor-san is signaling to go have a father-son chat. Like, okay. You need to mend your relationship with your father now, otherwise he knows in exchange. Nice one, Ruru. Rumor-san, it's pretty much... I like that you have the original, pretty much you have the original ogres and goblins essentially still kind of maintaining their friendship and kind of hierarchy. May I be allowed to step away from it? Sure, get going. Once. Thank you very much. Though there was a rather nostalgic reunion, the audience continued without issue. Next in line, step forward. So I thought, but I saw this one coming. Yo, Demon Lords, you need to hand the battlefield. I gotta recommend us, the Gozu tribe. Minotaurs, pretty much. Couldn't be further from the truth. Team up with us, the Mizu tribe. I want to vow to slay all monsters opposing, including those cursed. Gozu. And of course, monsters gotta be bloodthirsty. Now I think I look at them more closely. They seem perfect as mid-bosses for my dungeon, both in magical capacity and appearance. Guess I'll recruit them. Let's see how I can win them over. Notice, the city-wide barrier maintained by Neutral Sun has been destroyed. Something really bad is coming. Raphael Sensei is forming me, which? Affirmative, they are hostile to you. So essentially I had a feeling this would come in as people who are essentially strong enough to kind of oppose it. Oh, we're going to take this over again. So, seeing if he truly is strong. Members of Yamagura's security force on the ground. None are dead, they were just knocked out. It seems they're not out for blood. It's still a pain in the ass. Who could they be? Name yourselves. Are you knowingly intruding on the domain of Demon Lord? Stand down, girl. I'm ticked off right now since my prey got stolen. Clayman. I was supposed to be the one murdering him. and taking his seat as Demon Lord. Then some slime showed her nowhere to steal everything. Urusama allowed me to handle this. Shion. Oh, so your Demon Lord was follower, Shion. The evil one who beat up Playman, right? I heard all from my old man, his old man. Bro, let me have some too. I'm starving. If his old man knew about what happened back then, he must have present at the scene. Guy, the girl, Dino, Leon, despite these all of them pretty old. Suppose they had 2 or 3 adult kids. I don't want to keep our audiences waiting longer, so I'll take all 3 at the same time. What? You've got some guts. You're going down. I can't wait to see your tears. And Shion literally beats him. Hold on. Being Kieran's son is another possibility. Oh, that's interesting. So undone. My apologies. Did I not give enough beating? No, it's not. Our dad is Dragon Lord Dragonil. I'm the oldest son, your second son, Leo. Youngest son, the giant. Miguel is the correct one. Was that the big old guy? And why did you come here? Well, you see, he told us to go train ourselves under you, Demon Lord. We were messing around with it, but that old man got super pissed off with me. He kicked us out and told us to go train. He didn't want to deal with this naughty kid, so he shoved him on me. What the heck is wrong with him? Well, making him owe me a favor isn't that bad. Certainly can't play on my methods. Fine, in that case, you could train a Shion. Ah! Perfect. I remember Sama's first secretary as well as leader and trainer of the Yomagiri squad. Even pathetic weaklings such as yourself can become first-rate warriors. Follow me and I'll show you how. Okay, you respond with Roger. Yeah, Roger, sis. I promise to work to the best of my ability. Me too, but first can I get something to eat? Silence! You only get food after clearing my regiment. Roger. What? Probably grow up to become obedient soldiers. Let's go back to the audience as we left the Gozu and Muzu guys right. We awaited your return. Please accept our vows of loyalty, Oneself. Okay. What's up with them? Why are they such a... It seems they witnessed Shion fighting earlier, and that taught them the extent of their abilities. Please order us as you see fit. Strength equals strength. Monsters follow strength. Strongest of the fittest. Apparently, the two races have been engaged battle since over a century. In that case, I doubt the complaint I sit there in battleground from the labyrinth. If you value your allegiance, I'll arrange to consider an appropriate position for you two. Cease your fighting for the time being and behave yourselves till I give it at once. Great. Got my mid-bosses. Following this turn of events, there were no more races looking down on me. Shion's beatdown of Drago's sons probably played a big role. I love how they're kind of falling around essentially, and then everyone's kind of... Well, I guess things turned out right. I am honored to meet you in person, Your Majesty, and Elf. I have come today to offer congratulations as well as express my gratitude. This is likely a reference to the Gozu and Mizu tribes. Their war has resulted in extensive damage to the forest where the elves live. Indeed, with our trees cleaved down, we can no longer reap nature's bounties. Many had no choice but search jobs on the outside, resulting in significant population decline. Seriously? Those two messed up that big? I was about to appeal directly to you regarding the behavior, though you handled the before that was necessary. I must thank you for that. I see, that's great to hear. All I wanted was my in-bosses, though. Either way, many of my kin have gone missing while working abroad. I must still consider searching for a safer forest. Then when the trees have fully grown a forest must take a lot of time. How about all the elves come to this town instead, eh? More precise, the labyrinth in this town. Floor 95 of the dungeon is designated as a safe region before the bosses rush. The magic activation places devices we placed around the roads cause a reduction of electrical density, which was a problem for the tenants. They needed a new home along with the dryads, Toria, and Doris. With it all moving on floor 95, so it kind of ended up being turned into a forest. Pretty much perfect location for the elves' hidden village. Maybe I can even start a special members only elf club. Proper respect for my predecessors, so pretty much a harem for people who want to come and enjoy themselves. Truly, Your Majesty, of course, this place is pretty big, so everyone can come. Thank you very much. I will return bringing my kin as soon as possible. Looks like I've gotten a step closer to my dream now than put inside. So, here, look into Viscount Kazakh from the Kingdom of Villand. Mars Malos mentioned his planning a business deal on elf slaves. I like how they're bringing it back. So originally there was a little side story essentially about that. Not side story essentially, but when rumor went to essentially have Morales move permanently. There was that guy who essentially saw him as human form, rumor, and was like, oh, I like him. It's like, oh, I'm dealing with elf slaves. So it's like, here you are kind of bringing it back full circle. I like that they're doing that. Body double. If Viscount Vazek responds to missing elves, he won't get any mercy. That would be a declaration of war on my love of elves. Becoming the owner of an elf club is one of my dreams, and all who get in my way will be crushed to the dirt. Later night. Oh, Rumoursome, your form is as majestic as ever. Being graced by your presence after such a long absence fills my heart with so much joy that it might burst into me. Dude, your greeting was longer and more convoluted than any of the visiting races. Welcome back to you two, Geld. I see you got a vacation time for the Fanning Festival. Yes, thanks to Frey Sama's consideration. Thanks for the hard work, Hakura. It was nothing, truly. My apprentice Yomo's crowning ceremony made me feel like I was watching my son's moment in the sky. I must say my eyes have gotten a little watery. Is that so? You see, Harkonnen, I want to talk to you about your daughter rather than your son. Daughter? What? I have a daughter? Tengu daughter. Yeah, what's more, she's being offered as Benru's bride. The young master's bride, in his response. I have my own life and circumstances, you know. There's no way I can take a bride that easily. What? What's that? Are you saying my daughter isn't good enough for you? I don't know when this is coming. It's like, my daughter! I'm your mentor! Take her! I have said nothing of the sort. In the first place, why are you suddenly putting on the dad act when you didn't even know her feelings go? Because I have responsibility! Now that I'm aware! The response began when you got so much writing. How was I supposed to do anything before learning the situation? I didn't know. And so they continue arguing throughout the night with any conclusion. You aren't going to be young forever, says the geezer with no restraint. We had to start our conference with a Tengu where everything was still, undecided. Kind of have a little in between. We have fluttering soccer petals making the season spring. New dance to commemorate our new encounters. Final day of the audience. The Tengu's audience with me is practically a conference, so we move to the meeting room. You have proven your ability to govern these sorors superbly. However, I refuse to allow you any control over us. Moji Girl is as prickly as I imagined. After hearing her tell the story, the reason for her became clear. She apparently believed me to be in cahoots with the former Demon Lord Frey, and together we wished to conquer the Tengu, or at least that's what she thought. Geld, have you heard anything about this from Frey? Simon? Yes, it seems she once was after the Sorcerer Dynasty of Cern's capital and wished to use the Tengu to advance her plans. Wonderful. It seemed better than Elman Suri in the capital atop the sacred tree. However, your project for a new capital has taken her full attention. Freda's biggest sum of concern lies with Milam-sama at the moment. Milam-sama was supposed to be studying governmental structure, but recently she was nervous. I see, that sounds very troublesome. Frey was given up on Sarian? No way. Remember the three Biscuiteers who sent to pressure us? Oh, I get it. Fran carrying her both now under Million. So she saw a carrier subordinate misconstrued it as Frey pressuring them. So the deadlock situation kind of like this. Look essentially Sarian, Frey, Tengu. We came in saying we wanted a road to Sarian, so it's no wonder she found us incredibly suspicious. I'm so sorry. It seems this is all my understanding. Moreover, he even scolded me saying I was overthinking things. I was so rude to Elva-sama too. She's still a leader without much experience. Being overly cautious also was the right choice, at least in my opinion. It's fine as long as you understand now. It's just that her choice turned out to be a bit off this time. Seems we can establish a healthy relationship with Tengu now, or after overcoming the handle of Benru's marriage. With this, our agreement is complete. One last thing. I have a letter from Kade-sama addressed to your majesty rumor. Started with an incredibly polite greeting, followed by an apology for her daughter's mistaken assumptions. She already knew this was happening. The letter stated wish to have friendly relations, but tone shifted partway after. So many years have passed since that day, but are you still in good health? I can only wonder how Emoji appears in your eyes. I'm certain she will continue making mistakes. However, that brave sorrow was inherited from you. Her eye for men must have been inherited from me. After all, she did a great deal boasting about how she'd fallen from Baron. Hold on, mother. Letters from him and father in the same envelope. How careless can you be, mother? She must never expect the public execution coming out of nowhere. Would you mind if I have a look? The letter appears to be for me. The girl's power is great, but her technique lack refinement. Ah, my senior disciple. And as this girl's follower, Soroni Hakuro-dono, I ask that you guide and train her personally. To my dear husband, from Cade. To think her feelings remain to this very day. Good thing I've survived long enough to learn this. Are you my father? Really? That's right. I am Hakuro, your father. The beautiful graduation from white to red in your hair must have come from your mother. Reminds me so much of her. Father! A father-daughter meeting over 300 years in the making. Dang! I can only imagine the joy. I've wanted to meet you for so long. Meet you, Momoji. You've grown so long. Didn't have a clue until the other day. Come on, Denver. It's gonna be like, you didn't know she existed until like a day ago. Momoji, my training will hurt. Yes, but after everything's show, I want to see you capture the young master's heart. Yes. So essentially, he's saying, if you can capture the young master's heart, that's all up to you. Oi, Hakuro-sama. Oh, also, Oni-sama, I have been asked to pass a message from Awa-sama. Benaru-sama, I have resolved myself. My plan has always been to defeat Moji-sama and win the seat of first wife. However, concubine is always an option, if worse comes worse. I have no intention of giving up, so please prepare yourself. Awa-sama has a crush on Minoru. Minoru, I love that, is what she said. Man, it must be rough, being such a hot guy. It was like, ha ha ha. Minoru sure is popular. Kick, 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 kick. Kafu, kafu, kafu. So in One Piece, which you guys know I'm a fan of, they have the different laughs. A Reincarnated slime have different laughs as well. So I think, correct me if I'm wrong, that might be a Japanese thing with each person can have a different laugh for each family. I like that kind of thing. Lovely matters such as I only have memorized for River-sama. Lovely matters such as romance do not interest me in this life. No one asked you. So what do you think of all this? Setting aside the fact that it's too early to be considered marriage, allow me to say one thing. One wife is more than enough. Understood, Minoru-sama. I will accept all this challenge and earn the position of my wife with my own abilities. I just said it was too early. Minoru-sama, is this alright with you? Oh, sure, I guess. Minoru-sama would have a tough time, though. Now, I should keep that in mind from now on. I won't lose, Shino-sama. Bring it on, Shion. So Shion and Shino essentially are competing for Rimuru-sama's wife. From this moment on, a completely incomprehensible custom known as love in battle was born in Tempest. So, there's a lot here. I always do pacing. Let me go see real quick and see if I can kind of find the difference. So we have the introduction with the rabbits. We shift to the lizards. I'm going to go rather quick as time. We shift to the bull and the horse people. So I'm going to consider that 3. We shift to essentially Dragonail's sons causing trouble and getting their butts whooped. We shift back to horse and cow people. Forgive me. We have the elves. Stories tying in. A little of story, but that's still kind of the same storyline point. We have him essentially meeting with Hakuru. There. We have essentially a break. So this next part could almost be considered another chapter, but as it's one still, I'm going to consider it. So we have 7. The meeting with the Tengu. So 8, which I don't think I've either done it or it's been a while since I've essentially done a pacing with a Reincarnated slime. Pacing for me typically tends to be better when it's shorter, 2 to 3. Now, you could argue there's 2 parts with this pacing with the last part, so you could say 7 and 1. To me, 7 is still a lot. I mean, there's a lot of information here. This essentially one chapter is like having 2 or 3 because it's once a month. I still think they could have done a better because jumping back and forth a little, especially with the horses, horse and the cow people, minotaurs. So typically, I give out 5 points. I would say a 3 out of 5. Not perfect, not the worst. I think the pacing could be better, but I think everything in it was decently spread out. there's a lot for character and story. So character. So I'm not here all night. The big ones I want to focus on. Let's look on it. We have the rabbits. So briefly, I like the fact that the show kind of what seems like another story plot being tied in. So character, the fact that the rabbits. Let's jump right. Yeah. So that just the fact that he's willing to come. We have Abaru, the fact that essentially he changed and he's actually willing to present himself, even though he's still considered one of the original alliances in my opinion. So I don't think he had to, but he's still going to show respect. Character, Gabo Samo, still being clueless as ever. So for me, his character goes down a little. Shion, same with the fact that she can essentially beat up some high mid-tier dudes, or essentially you have the son of a dragon or demon lord, essentially a giant, and she's able to whop the house. And they destroyed her, essentially the resurrection squad. So to me, that shows they're decent, but Shion wiped the squad with him. The fact that she is maintaining her position as the secretary. Dragging those kids a little, the fact that they're willing to accept they were beat and move on. I give them credit for that. The Elf Ambassador, the fact that the Elf Ambassador is willing to come, even though could have just hidden away, is still willing to come and be honest and say, hey, look, we need help. I was tending to go this way, but with you dealing with this stuff, I wanted to at least confront you. So I think that's important. I will get to remember some at the end. Next one, Hacker. He was clueless that he had a daughter, but then the fact that he's willing to step up and be a father, I think is important. And the fact that he is that dude that people naturally want to be around. He's still a leader. I mean, 300 years ago, he was that dude, and he's still kind of the mentor dude. Momji. It's impressive. She was willing to come. She's scared, nervous, but also she gets some deduction from me. She's a ditz. Literally, she's reading into all this other stuff. So she's taking in so much information, I feel, and she's not taking time to consider everything. To me, it also feels like maybe she's not conferring with anyone, even her mom. Her mom straight up says, saw at the beginning, like boom, 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 boom. It's like, no. I will give her some plus for the fact that she recognized her dad and she's willing to be honorable with him, and then she's willing to fight honorably for Benru's hand. Briefly, Momji's mom, the fact that her and Haku still kind of have feelings for each other, and the fact that her mom is able to predict everything Momji is essentially doing in motherly but leadership. Benru being kind of not wanting to essentially compete with love. He's like, hey, but at the same time, he's like, I want to have one wife. I give him respect for that. Regardless of your culture, to me, that's honorable to at least have, be honest with one and have one love. If you think more, that's fine. For me, being an American, that's my opinion on it. I do think that's almost, and so he states that right off the bat. He's not going to play either, say, because you have the beast, there's essentially Elvis, essentially, who's a real concubine. He's like, no, he's like, I want one to truly devote myself, and I think that's honorable. Now, remember something, there's a lot with him. So for character, for me, obvious the fact that he's able to kind of juggle and be leadership and truly kind of understand where every group is kind of coming from. So biggest thing that stands out for me is just dealing with essentially Gabo and his father and saying, hey, you need to kind of have this moment, and still respecting Gabo's father. Essentially, you were one of the original races, but I still give you the fact that you're coming to me. He's willing to confer with his allies or his friends, his council, to kind of check on everything. And then he relies on Shion and the others, and he's always showing up when there's essentially an issue they can't handle. So he trusts them to handle it until they can't, and then they call him. And I think that's wonderful. I love that. The fact that he's able to delegate kind of who can handle what. So the Giants was another one. The fact he was able to essentially handle the Giants, and he's like, look, he understands essentially he's been put this responsibility on by others, but he doesn't let it affect him. Another kind of overall teaching concept is his labyrinth. He's got this massive plan, and he's incorporating it. Well, he could have kind of just said, "This is how you're going to do it." He does. He's incorporating like, "Well, I think you could do this. You could do this. You could do this." It's where like he's not letting it get too grandiose, but he's kind of still tiny. It's like he wasn't forcing them on. He's like, "Hey, you guys would be perfect for this." He's putting everyone essentially in a position where they can feel appreciated and work. And then the fact that handling the situation with the elves. He already kind of had some information from Miles Morales. And so to me, the fact that his information network is actually pretty decent. And so he's willing to listen to that. And he's got Soya on top of that. And then essentially with Haku, essentially he's trying to kind of introduce him to his art, but he's not willing to push that barrier. And then just overall his relationship with everyone. I think that's important. So there was a lot of character pieces here for me. I think you could have shortened it. I think there's some where it would have been easier, but I still think this isn't bad. Lower than I'll probably give it. I would give it a 4. Story. So how does this all tie in story? The earlier stuff essentially with the rabbits, the dragon eels, the lizard men, essentially ties into me with you have people essentially coming in. He's bringing in all the forest people, his previous allies, and new people who are essentially who have complete control or at least awareness of all the different groups in his forest, in his domain. The next part of the story, the fact that you had essentially the demon lord, the giant sons essentially coming in. So essentially, they essentially were hot stuff, trying to prove they were better, because the fact their dad was talking about. So that's the reach essentially where Sam's name is spreading. And then the fact that these strong mid-tier guys, sons of a demon lord, got beat down by the assistant. So essentially, you're establishing Shion's ability, and you're establishing Rim-sama's tiers, or his commanders, if you will. So essentially, to me, that's furthering the fact that people are not going to just mess with him. They're going to realize they have to go through these people first, which I think is good. The next part essentially is you have with the elves essentially kind of being set up where Rim-sama essentially is going to kind of investigate more and figure out and help them and have even more elves so he can set up kind of his little elf harem or elf shop, if you will, where people can kind of essentially come and enjoy the fantasy. And then the labyrinth is going to be really, I think, his biggest thing. So he's establishing even more. He's setting up different ways to protect them, and he's got all the different ways. So I did mention the dryads briefly, essentially in the forest, and then you're going to have the elves there. So you're going to have essentially an elf haven, and you're going to have the dryads who can essentially use the magic. So literally, you're going to have that within this magic nation, and that's thanks to Rumorous, essentially the fairy demon lord, who literally has almost come underneath him, and I think that's important. So you essentially, like they had said before, at the beginning of the story, was pretty much when Milim-sama essentially being with Rim, people thought essentially might she actually be working for him. Where now essentially it's another demon lord. Rimus is literally under because literally she's working for him almost. Or she is. And then the last part, essentially wrapping up the Tengu stuff, where essentially you have the Tengu officially accept the alliance. They're willing to work because once they understand there's no more confusion. The Tengu kind of, some of them come off as easy, naive, manipulated, but there's others who are kind of more wise. So there's a balance, but they're obviously seen as strong. So that to me is impressive to see, understand. So a lot there. I liked that story a little more, so I would give that a 4. So you have a 4, 4, and a 3. So 11 out of 15, which to me is typically a lower rating. Biggest thing for me that was pacing. Story was solid. There's a lot all flowing together. I really like said how the elf stuff when Miles Morales tied back together, and even the horse and the Minotaur kind of tied. I thought that was beautiful to bring it together. So that for me, the story is really pushing character. There was a lot of quick little minor characters, some we'd already met, some new ones I think we're going to get more later, revelation later on. Continuing to establish Sam as friends, essentially as his bosses or essentially his commanders, and you have him, and then kind of going down. I like that. So then, pacing just was not it for me. Maybe it's because I'm used to One Piece and other stuff where even though there's a lot of stuff there, sometimes they do short and then they do a long. So to me, having an actual long one, and again, it's a monthly one, so maybe it's a little different, but just didn't feel it. This has been Jolly Green 1990's review of Chapter 107 of Reincarnated. If you liked it, like the video. If you didn't like it, dislike. Let me know why with a comment, please. If you want any other videos, mangas, please let me know. Bye, YouTube.